61% of Australians don't feel comfortable or confident that they've got enough in their super to retire comfortably. So clearly, savings alone inside your super isn't enough for most people. It's not if you look at the average balance. Super is built for retirement certainty. It's kind of a set and forget strategy. Property, on the other hand, is your flexible, high control, high growth engine that comes with a little bit of a workload. Is it super or property? You don't have to choose. The best strategy is so, is it better to invest in superannuation or in property? Where should you be investing your money right now? Now, I'm going to give you my opinion, but you should always check with your financial advisor before making any decision. Property or super? It's a question nearly every 30 to 50-year-old Australian has asked at some point in their life, and with good reason. We've got over $4 trillion in superannuation and more than $11.5 trillion in residential real estate right now. But here's the thing, 61% of Australians don't feel comfortable or confident that they've got enough in their super to retire comfortably. So clearly, savings alone inside your super isn't enough for most people. It's not if you look at the average balance. In this video, I will walk you through the real difference between superannuation and property and how they perform, how they're taxed, and what kind of investor each one suits. Superannuation is your personal retirement account. It's set up to grow your wealth until and for retirement. And then it's going to provide you with the income once you do retire. Now, the thing is, you can't access it in the early years unless you meet some very specific condition. And while that might seem annoying, you know what? It's actually one of the super's biggest strengths. You know what that is? That's right, you can't accidentally spend it. There are tax advantages, and they're a big deal too with superannuation. So, inside superannuation, your investment earnings are only taxed at 15% instead of 30 or 37 or even 45% like your regular income. So let's say that you earn $110,000 and your employer puts $11,000 into superannuation. That money is going to be taxed at 15%, not at the higher marginal tax rate. That's a saving of about $2,000 just for following the system. It's not a bad idea. Balanced super funds often earns around 5 to 7% per year after fees and taxes. Now, that's a solid long-term compounding return. Plus, superannuation is professionally managed and it's generally diversified. So you're exposed to hundreds, sometimes thousands of global assets, things like shares and bonds and commercial property, infrastructure, so on and so forth. Now, you don't need to pick the winners. You just stay invested and let compounding do its thing over time. And once you hit retirement, well, earnings and withdrawals can be tax-free if you're retired and after the age of 60. But of course, superannuation isn't perfect. The biggest limitation, obviously, is access. But we found that it can also be a benefit to it. So you generally can't touch your super until you reach your preservation age, only around 60 years of age under the current rules. That means you can't use it for early retirement, buying or helping buy your kid's home or funding a big investment in your 40s. But you also don't have direct control over where your superannuation investment. Yes, you can choose between different options like growth or balance, but you can't say, I want my money to be invested in tech stocks or in this particular company and so on. You can't do that. And like any regulated system, the rules can and often do change over time. Tax settings, contribution caps, even access age. They've all shifted over the years. That creates a small layer of kind of uncertainty, especially for high balances. If your goal is to build wealth for retirement, superannuation is still one of the most tax effective and stable options available to you. Let's talk about property. Australians, they just love their real estate. And it's not just because it feels safe or familiar. There are real structural advantages to owning property as an investment. Firstly, property gives you control. You can choose what suburb, what kind of tenant, what rent, what improvements to make, and so on. You can repaint it, you can renovate it, you can even refinance it. Superannuation doesn't let you do those kind of things. Secondly, it's the only mainstream investment where you can use leverage effectively. And the only way you're going to get ahead financially, truly over the long term, is through financial leverage. So let's say that you have $150,000. In super, you can only invest that amount of money. But with property, you can use it as a 20% deposit and buy a $700,000 or $750,000 investment. The rest is going to be funded by our friends, the bank. Now, if that property increases in value by just 10% and it grows to $825,000, a $75,000 gain on your $150,000 deposit. That's a 50% return. Thanks to who? My friend and your friend, leverage. Third, property produces income now. Rental income can help you cover your loan repayments, and if the rents exceed the costs, it may even give you some positive cash flow back. And that's what you should be aiming for over the long term. And here's the kicker. You can access your property equity at any time that it goes up, either by refinancing it or by selling it. So unlike super, which is locked away, your property wealth is something you can actually use well before your retirement to fund other property purchases, cover emergencies, or just improve your lifestyle. But like any investment, as a matter of fact, like every investment, property does have risks associated with it. Of course, with great flexibility comes great responsibility. So which one is better? Is it super or property? Well, the honest truth is it depends on your goals. Super is built for retirement certainty. It's kind of a set and forget strategy. There are tax advantages and it is fairly stable. Property, on the other hand, is your flexible, high control, high growth engine that comes with a little bit of a workload. There is a little bit of risk and costs associated. And here's the good news. You don't have to choose. The best strategy is a bit of both. Now, we help these clients, whether they're 30, whether they're 40, or if they're in their 50s, who want long-term freedom, not just financial comfort. Step one is lock in your retirement base with super. Make sure that your super is on track to fund a tax-free income after the age of 60. That means checking your investments, looking at the options, you're reviewing performances, and if you can, maybe do a little bit of sacrificing as well. Just an extra $100 a week into your super can mean tens of thousands of dollars more for you at retirement, and you're saving tax today as well. Step two is you can use property to accelerate midlife wealth. While super compounds quietly in the background, you can use property to drive growth that you can access in your 40s or in your 50s. Whether it's buying your first investment property, leveraging equity for a second or a third, restructuring your loan can give you tools to grow your wealth whilst you're still young enough to enjoy it. And so what's step three? Rebalance as life changes. Every year or so ask, is my super growing at the right pace? Is my property strategy helping me, or is it hurting my cash flow? Do I need more liquidity or do I need more growth? Rebalancing keeps your plan adaptable and resilient, and it protects you from overexposure to just one asset class. So super versus property isn't a battle, it's a strategic mix. And the right balance depends on your timeline, your income, and obviously your lifestyle goals. Super gives you structure. Property gives you options. Together, they build long-term financial freedom for you and your family. If you're not sure where you stand, grab our free 2025 mortgage reduction ebook. It's packed with practical ways to free up your cash, reduce payments, and put more money back in your pocket, back in your control. So if you like what you heard, love you to subscribe and leave some comments. See you at the top.